the early years of the Crippled Children's Help Society, children had been sent on restorative trips to the seaside, but it was becoming clear that a home in healthy surroundings operated by the society itself was what was needed.
In 1904, the Peacefield Home, which is really a convalescent home, opens in Marple, and this is the beginning of an important era.
With only 9 beds, this rented property soon became too small for the demand, with each child staying around 2 weeks to benefit from the clean country air. Soon, the society were considering plans for a purpose-built replacement for Peacefields.
By 1913, they've got more money, they build a bigger extension, and that's the Marple Children's Nursing Home. And by 1935, there's further extensions, and it's actually a hospital by then. Fresh air wards and lots of fresh air and big windows so the sunlight can get in. And they've got physio. This is 1935. They've got all sorts of professional input now. So it's getting to be a proper hospital.
By 1935, the nursing home had become the Children's Orthopaedic Hospital, and with it, a change in approach to the children. The society were no longer content to settle for providing palliative short breaks, but realised that, for a number of conditions, the right care may result in a cure. These treatments often took several months, if not years, to work, taking children away from their families. We've been lucky enough to meet up with some former patients of Marple Hospital. Their full interviews have been added to the Disabled Living Archive. Here's just a few of John and Barbara's early memories.
Yeah, my name is John Howarth. These are the shoes that I'm pretty confident were what I wore immediately before going into hospital. Turn them over, you can see the wear on the back of my right foot, that's the right foot, where I probably slurred that flu to protect the left leg. But I'm sure that there's photographs on that taken of me before I go into hospital are the same shoes that are in my hand now. I learnt since that it was because of a TB hip that I had, and that's what they called it in those days, and I've lived with that problem a long time.
Okay, my name is Barbara St John, but at the time in Marple I was McFadden. TB in the left hip. Mum said, it was heartbreaking because it was going to have to be a long stay from home. I remember that.
I think my mother could only manage to get over once a month. I think she got some subsidy, about 8 shillings to pay for the fare, and you knew that when she came, she had to go back. I might have been upset, but I don't remember that.
I know I was on a frame, I know I had a collar around my neck, so I was in one position, laid down. It could be me, but may not be.
And then the other things I remember about life is having to lie on blocks that were built up to support your rigid body, rigid from the plaster of Paris cast went down, the whole of one leg went down above the knee on the other leg and round your hips. So you're perfectly well immobilised. You could only move by somebody helping you out and things like that. And having to learn to feed myself by looking up at a mirror suspended above me on the bed and feeding you. And if you made a mess, well, you made a mess. But somehow you learnt to live life through that mirror.
For 18 months of it, I was on a frame, so making friends and doing much wasn't really possible.
We were wheeled out into the open for the cool, clear summer air.
I remember being taken outside with the bed, with the covers, the tarpaulin covers, and I loved it. You got to see the sky and the flowers, and then when it rained, it was quite wonderful because you were dry but you could hear the rain.
Another of the memories I've got is this team of inmates, if I can call us that. I was one of them, a group of 5, and the names worth memory and confirmed by other sources since was the Harry Grundy, Sam Pendlebury, Mavis Widdop, and a little boy joined us later on called Joey. Never knew his surname. He couldn't do anything but get under the feet, but he was a joy to have. And then I remember nurses being there, and I only remember 2. One of them was particularly special, but I think the other one was as well. And I remember a little incident one night, and this is still very clear. I must have been looking for some sort of warmth or friendship. And I remember one of the nurses picking me up in her arms and shouldering me, just cuddling me like, and I can remember that quite clearly now, you know.
I think after that I was put into plaster, but I remember obviously on the photographs I was outside. I don't think I could walk, and that's obviously when Mum and Dad were visiting me, one of the visits.
Yeah.
It's a happy photograph and the way Mum's looking.
During the long periods of time the children spent in Marple Hospital, every effort was made to keep the patients entertained with regular visits from stars of stage and screen, including Ken Dodd, Bobby Charlton and Dora Bryan. Visitors of the four-legged variety also helped the children keep their spirits up. There were also visits from the residents of Bellevue Zoo. Here is part of an oral history interview in which June Stanbridge, a nurse at Marple Hospital, remembers a very slippery visitor.
The zoo came in, and there's the zookeeper quite happily telling them nothing to be afraid of and snakes, and see, the matron had got it round her neck, she wasn't afraid. I hate to tell him, but the matron's knees were not in with fright. And she said, I thought it was going to strangle me, and everything kept gradually getting a bit tighter around her neck.
Despite being confined to their beds, children were encouraged to play music, develop their craft skills, and later, as they improved, to play sports in the hospital grounds.
I remember it was Dad who came for me, and then the children started to sing, Mummy, Daddy, take me home from this convalescent home. I've been here a year or two, and now I want to be with you. Goodbye to all the sisters, goodbye to all the sisters, goodbye to all the sisters, and the jolly good matron too. And that's what they sang as we were leaving.
On the way out, I can remember being linked up to my mother and my grandmother as we walked down the streets coming back from Manchester prison. We came back on a bus or a Shara or the train, and walking me down the streets in Burnley to get to a house on Barry Street where we came from in the first place. And I can remember that quite vividly.
The hospital in Marple remained a central part of the Society's work until it was made into an NHS facility. There's still more to find out about the Disabled Living charity, including 2 more name changes. So please do look out for the next film. Until then, thanks for watching. And remember, if you have a story to share, please do get in touch via the website or the contact details at the end of this film.